Myself, Professor B.N. Kalunkhe, Head Department of Zoology, RBNB College, Srirampur. Today I am going to discuss on a topic, air pollution. Definition of air pollution, sources of air pollution, and adverse effects of air pollution. Air pollution is defined as contamination that is addition of substances or particles, gases, and poisonous chemicals. Or air pollution is defined as undesirable changes in physical, chemical, and biological components of atmospheric air, mainly by human activities. That shows various adverse effects. On the body of human being, animals, and plants. Air pollution is defined as undesirable changes or alteration in physical, chemical, and biological components of air, atmospheric air, due to various human activities, and that cause several adverse or harmful effects on the body of man, animals, and plants. Then second point is sources of air pollution. First one is a combustion of fossil fuels. Combustion of fossil fuels. Various industries, particulate matter, hydrocarbons, etc. The first one, the combustion. It is a burning of fossil fuels. mainly burning of fossil fuels. That is incomplete burning of fossil fuels. For example, automobiles or vehicles. Vehicles or automobiles. Fossil fuels are used in vehicles or automobiles. For example, petrol, diesel, kerosene. That emits gases. Similarly, the particulate matter, that includes mainly soot, dust, pollen grains, dust from, for example, rock, with the help of wind, pollen grains. These are called as particulate matter or solid waste material. The burning of fossil fuels, vehicles, automobiles, emits various gases. For example, oxides of carbon. Carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, etc. These are the examples of oxides of carbon: carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. These gases are mainly emitted by burning of fossil fuels in different industries. For example, textile industries, tanneries, pesticide industries, fertilizer industries, and it is a source of air pollution, oxides of carbon. Second, oxides of sulfur. For example, SO2, SO3, and oxides of nitrogen. Oxides of nitrogen. These are the gases. Gases produced mainly by burning of fossil fuels, incomplete burning of fossil fuels, petroleum products, diesel, kerosene. Similarly, For example, forest fire. Forest fire that produces smoke. That produces smoke. And smoke is also produced in large amount by various industries. By various industries that mainly contains such different gases: oxides of carbon, oxides of sulfur, oxides of nitrogen. And inhalation of such gases from atmospheric air that causes several adverse effects on the body of human being or on the body of animals and plants. For example, oxides of carbon monoxide, it is mainly produced by several industries and petroleum products. Similarly, it is also produced from, for example, cigarette smoke. Such carbon monoxide, when inhaled, that enters in the body of human being, that shows various adverse effects on the body of human being. Such carbon monoxide combines, for example, it combines with hemoglobin of blood, that combines with hemoglobin of blood, forming carboxyhemoglobin. When carbon monoxide combines with hemoglobin of blood, such hemoglobin is called as carboxyhemoglobin. It mainly affects respiratory system, that is lung, for example, and shows several adverse effects on blood vascular system, that is called as cardiovascular system. Cardiovascular system. It shows adverse effects on mainly respiratory system and cardiovascular system. For example, in case of respiratory system, it affects lung, that causes pneumonia, bronchitis, or tuberculosis. That affects adversely respiratory system, that affects on lung, that results in pneumonia disease bronchitis, or tuberculosis in case of inhalation of carbon monoxide. Similarly, excess amount of oxygen, excess amount of CO2, carbon dioxide, that becomes responsible for increasing temperature of Earth's surface. Increasing temperature of Earth's surface. When there is an increase in temperature, that adversely affect the plant growth. That adversely affect plant growth, and similarly that also adversely affect aquatic organisms and several disorders in case of human being. For example, causing a skin cancer. These are the oxides of carbon monoxide and CO2, which shows adverse effects on ecosystem. Then next one source is industrial source. Different industries that emits a smoke. Emits smoke. That smoke contains fly ash, for example. Fly ash. Various poisonous chemicals and different types of gases. For example, oxides of sulfur, oxides of nitrogen, oxides of nitrogen. These gases combine to form a complex structures, chemicals. For example, oxides of sulfur, they are combined to form a concentrated chemical which is called as H2SO4, sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid. Oxides of nitrogen that combines to form HNO3, that is a nitric acid. Nitric acid. These chemicals are responsible. For example, nitric acid or sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid, these are acids that increases acidity of soil. That increases acidity of soil. That also adversely affects the soil fertility. that adversely affect soil fertility. And when they enter into nearby water bodies, they are washed with rainwater from atmosphere and they enter in aquatic ecosystem. When such acids enters in aquatic ecosystem, that adversely affect the flora and fauna of aquatic ecosystem. Flora plants and fauna animals. Both plants and animals are adversely affected due to addition of sulfuric acid, nitric acid. And this one is commonly called as acid rain. It is called as acid rain. Oxides of sulfur forms sulfuric acid and oxides of nitrogen that forms nitric acids. They are released in this atmospheric air by various industries. And finally, such sulfuric acid, nitric acid, along with rainwater, they fall on the ground, that is soil. And that becomes responsible for killing microorganisms which are found in the soil. Microorganisms which are found in the soil. Similarly, these oxides of sulfur, nitrogen shows another adverse effects in the body of human beings. For example, they damage central nervous system. They show adverse effects on various body organs. That effect is called as acid rain. Then second effect is called, for example, depletion of ozone layer. Depletion of ozone layer. Depletion of ozone layer. Suppose this one is a earth surface. This one is a earth surface. Around this earth surface there is another layer, thick layer of ozone. Thick layer of ozone. The sun rays that is radiant energy emits from sun and falls on the ground. That is earth surface. Earth surface. This ozone layer acts as a shield. It is a protective cover. It is a protective cover. It does not allow to penetrate or pass sun rays directly on Earth's surface. They absorb sunlight, and most amount of radiant energy is re-radiated or re-reflected in the atmosphere. Suppose when sun rays, they directly fall on the Earth's surface, that shows various adverse effects on the body of human being. For example, when sun rays directly falls in the form of radiant energy, that becomes responsible for destruction of plants, microorganisms, and in case of human being, that may become responsible for causing a skin cancer. When sunlight directly falls on the earth, that becomes responsible for causing such adverse effects. Destruction of plant life, skin is damaged, skin cells are damaged. That finally results in a skin cancer. That is prevented by this thick layer, ozone layer. It acts like an umbrella. It acts like an umbrella. Most of radiant energy is reflected again in atmosphere, and only a small amount of radiant energy is allowed to pass on the Earth's surface. But due to some human activities, this thick ozone layer becomes thin. That becomes thin. For example, production of CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, CFC, that is mainly produced by refrigerators or air conditioners. Air conditioners and refrigerators, they mainly produce such gas, chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs. Similarly, methane is produced. Methane is produced, and these gases are responsible for thinning of this layer. This layer becomes thin, and when this layer becomes thin, large amount of radiant energy falls on the ground, and that becomes to increase a temperature of Earth's surface. For example, in Antarctica, when this layer becomes thin, that becomes responsible for increasing temperature of that ice in that region. Ice starts to melt. That may result in increased level of seawater. These are two adverse effects of sources of air pollution, formation of acid rain, depletion of ozone layer.